Morning, y'all. Welcome back to Piney Woods Homestead. If you're new here, I'm Lisa, heading out this morning to get all the babies fed, check on them and see how they're doing, so thought I'd take you along with me. And I have Rooster joining me too. Hey, Samson. Miss Rosie. She's probably not even going to come up for air to look at the camera. And our little Samson is growing like a weed. He's still just a sweetheart. Our next project coming up is going to be getting his pasture and new home ready, so that he's going to have his room and be away from the girls, and also so that we can get this farrowing barn back for whenever we're going to need it. Mr. Rooster decided to venture down with me this morning. Y'all may recall in several videos I talked about us having one too many roosters. We actually had 6 in here with our layers, which was too many. And we actually let Rooster, the one that was down with the pigs, we let him out because he got beat up really bad. So he's just been hanging out. But in the meantime, we no longer have one too many roosters. Rooster followed me back from feeding up the pigs. And here's part of the girls, along with the Sussex rooster that we had over with our breeding bunch. And he's actually going to be the rooster that stays in here with them. And Mr. Rooster here, we're just letting him hang out here until springtime. We had hoped that we could just leave him out and, you know, in and out, put him up at night. But he's discovered the raised beds. So that's not going to come planting time work out too well. So in the meantime, he's here, but we'll see what happens as it gets planting time. Well, hey, honey. And our breeders are still doing good. All the little Sussex ladies. And we have the Delaware rooster in there with them. He will stay in there with them. And probably by late spring, early summer, we'll start incubating some of the eggs from them for a trial run of meat chicks. And Rooster there, yeah, he just goes pretty much everywhere I go. He's about like a dog. So if you're new here, you may or may not know that I actually work from this building over here. I haven't been able to since Matthew first got sick, so I have an online business. You know, I missed all of the holiday shopping, but now that he is finally getting well enough to where I can leave him unattended some more, I'm ready to get back to work. So one of the things that I've got to get done today, back in the summer when we harvested all of our pumpkins, I put them in my studio in the windows to let them finish curing. They're all in there. It's a great temperature actually because I haven't had a fire going. So it's basically been like a good climate controlled cellar, basically root cellar for them. But I'm gonna need them out of my way so that I can get back to doing my work. So today I'm gonna load them all up, take them up to the house and get them processed down and put up. All right, I've got all the pumpkins loaded up. I'm gonna haul them up to the house and I'll take y'all along with me as I get them broke down. But just to give you an idea of these pumpkins, they're an average size pie pumpkin, so they aren't huge, but I've spent a lot of time when I was still working after we got them in the shop moving them around out of my way. And the variety is a Cherokee Tan, which is a heirloom, at one time almost extinct, pie pumpkin, and it stores really well. In a good environment, it would store for up to a year. But our house, with us having wood heat, will get too warm, and you know, I need the room in my shop. So gonna get these all processed into pumpkin puree and probably roast some of the seeds for a snack too.
When do we harvest these pumpkins?
September, I think.
So, October, November, December, January, it's now February.
Yeah.
It's almost 5 months.
Almost 5 months. And they could keep for up to a year, but not in the house because it's too hot in here.
Well, we got to get them broke down.
Yeah.
So you can be making me some pumpkin pies.
Yes.
Thanks to Kyla, I scored big. She brought some tulips home from her work last night for me, for Lisa.
Just gonna go ahead and get the oven preheated to 350 so it's ready to go.
What are you doing with the oven?
I'm gonna put the pumpkins in there and let them get cooked down, and then we'll be able to scoop it out and have the puree. So all I'm doing is popping the stems off of them. You don't have to. And I'm just gonna cut them in half.
Let's see what that looks like. 5 months old. Mm-hmm. Looks brand new.
And this type of pumpkin has a lot of seeds in them. And you can save those seeds, but we have plenty of them, so I'm just gonna roast them. And you just want to scoop out all the stringy.
So you're going to roast those for us to eat?
I will roast those.
I don't think I've ever ate a pumpkin seed roasted.
Oh, you're missing out. And you just want to make sure you get all of the stringy fibrous out of there, but as you can see, there's still a good bit amount of meat on these. So, and one of these pumpkins would make enough pulp for 1 pumpkin pie. So
there's
the average
2,
size
3. There's a bunch of pumpkin pies here. I'm happy about that.
Or pumpkin bread, or
pumpkin soup.
Yeah, pumpkin soup. So what I'm going to do after I get these pumpkins all cooked down into puree is just put them in portion size containers or freezer bags for pies. They'll have to be frozen. You cannot safely at home can, even pressure can, pumpkin puree just because of the thickness of it. So it's a different process of the way they do it in large companies where you buy the cans of pumpkin puree. You can't duplicate that canning process at home. So these will just go in the freezer, and I'll just flatten the bags. A great way to save space is to just freeze them flat so they're not in an odd shape, and just stack them on top of each other, and they won't take up much space. Pretty sure my hands are going to be stained orange from all this. And I'm not even that big of a fan of pumpkin pie.
But I am.
But he is. So I just wanted to see if I could grow pumpkins because I've never had luck in the past. And we didn't have the big harvest that we had hoped for. We did a video on it back when we did harvest them, but we still got quite a bit. And the Cherokee Tan are very prolific. They'll have 4 to 5 pumpkins per vine. And I think I planted about maybe 9 vines. I don't know, it was a lot. Okay, so I've got part of the pumpkins. All of it will fit in the oven. 2 trays. You want to line your trays with parchment paper. And as far as removing the stem, you don't have to do that, but it just gives you a little bit more space. And if you want to speed up the cook time, so it's not so long in the oven, you can just go around before you cut them in half and poke holes in them with a fork and microwave them for about 10 minutes. And that will cut down your oven time. But because I have so many, I'm just doing it this way. So we're going to put them in there at 350 for about, we'll check them in about 30 minutes. And you just want them to be fork tender. So let's get these in. Right. Usually takes about 45 minutes for a 5-pound pumpkin. These were a little less, so we're just going to check on them in about 30. And these did end up taking 25 minutes. And you can see you just want the fork to be able to go into it without any force. So all right.
Look good enough to eat right now.
They smell good too. So we're just gonna let these cool off for a minute so I can move them off of these pans. And I'm already working through cleaning out all the others because this is gonna be a process since I have so many. But get those finished cleaning up so I can get them on these pans. And then we'll move on to the next step.
What's the next step?
Which will be scooping it out and turning it into puree.
When does the pie happen?
Not today. And in case anybody is wondering, pumpkin does stain your hands orange.
Let's see one of them.
That is stained. So they're wet too, but they're stained. So if you don't want orange hands, then you could wear gloves, but honestly I wasn't thinking about it. So okay, the last batch is cooling, and I went ahead and scooped out the inside of the ones that were in there first. And you have 2 options again here if you're not working with 5,000 pumpkins like I am. If you're just doing a few, you can take the pumpkin that you have here and just mash it with potato masher, whatever you have. But because I'm doing so much, I'm just going to put it in the food processor and just puree it down a little bit. Get something bigger to scoop it out with.
Now, could women use this to make baby food, you think?
Oh yeah. And then all you're going to do is put it into a strainer over a bowl. And all you're going to do, you want to drain the water out of it. So I don't know if you can see in the bowl that I already had, the water was starting to already separate. But once I get all the puree in here, I'll just put a plate on top of it to weight it down. And that will help to press the water out. And we'll leave it sitting for about an hour to get that juice drained off of it. And to get the pumpkin out, once they've cooled enough to where you can handle them, just go along with a spoon. And there's your pumpkin. And I'm saving all the peels because both the pigs and the chickens will enjoy that as a treat. Finally.
Is that all of them?
That is all of them. And so you can see the liquid. The pumpkin juice is already starting to drain out.
How many pumpkins was that?
About 5,550.
Okay.
That's what it felt like. I don't know. Shoot, that's not gonna work.
Maybe 12 or so.
No, there was more than that.
Maybe
that would fit
13.
that way. Yeah. There we go. And we'll let this sit for about an hour. And then all the liquid that you're going to get off of it should be off of it. And then we'll get it packaged up for the freezer.
What you're getting here is a play-by-play. Lisa's down to the pumpkin seeds and she's whisking and spinning the seeds float to the top. She can get them out of there, put them on a baking sheet. I guess salt them and butter them.
You can put anything on them. You just put a little oil and salt. You can put garlic powder, or if you like them sweet, you can do like cinnamon sugar.
Interesting. Orange pumpkin. Orange kitty.
He doesn't look amused. Alright y'all, thanks for spending a little bit of time with me today while we got all of our pumpkins processed. So the last step is just be finished draining the water off of them and get them packaged for the freezer. So I'm going to end it right here. Thanks a lot for joining along. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, we would love for you to join us along. Have a great day, y'all.